He was a piece of trash when he was broke, and he was a piece of trash when he got money. I cannot stand Lawrence from Insecure.
So cold, your love is all I need. The safest space for me. I hope this lasts forever now.
Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, and welcome back if you've been here before. As you can tell by the title, this is a Nathan stan page, okay? Team Nathan forever. I don't feel bad about it either. So this is not gonna be so much about why I love Nathan or why I feel like Issa should have picked Nathan, because although I am team Nathan, I don't now feel like there was one to pick over the other. I feel like there were reasons to pick each guy, right? But because we have more of a look into Lawrence's personal life, I have more opinions on him as a person, and that is why I don't like him, okay? Well, we're gonna start from the beginning with Lawrence, because he is really a piece of shit. He really is. Let me make sure I got all the names right, because the way I'm about to lay into Lawrence's ass, if you've never watched Insecure, this is gonna be a bit of a spoiler for you, so I don't even think you should watch this video, because I'm about to taint your whole view on this man. Number one, when the show starts, right, what is Lawrence doing? Lawrence is sitting at home for 2 years while his girlfriend of 5 years is going out working every day. He's sitting on his at home. That's strike one. What kind of man is you? While your girlfriend's going to work to a job that she don't even really like. Your girl is miserable. From what she was saying, it was seeming like they weren't interacting much, they weren't being intimate much, and he really was not trying to fix the situation. He really was not. He was not proactive in trying to find employment. He was on some high horse thinking he was too good for certain jobs, so he did not want to go get a job that he could get. And he was hell-bent on making this app happen that just was not happening. And in the meantime, he was not trying to work. Issa was miserable. She later reveals to us that she would, you know, just ride around after work sometimes because she did not want to come home and deal with him, because he was just such a downer. Boom. Issa cheats. Do I condone infidelity? Absolutely not. But you have to look at a whole situation, especially when, I'm not gonna say especially when, because I feel like women and men cheat. She cheated with an old friend named Daniel, right? He came back around the same time when Issa was feeling all these feelings, and she ended up sleeping with him. Do I think it was right? No. But was she remorseful immediately after? Yes, she was. She felt really bad. And when you look at her whole situation with Lawrence, you can kind of understand why. Like, why wouldn't she be attracted to another man who's working, another man who's giving her attention, who's treating her like a woman, you know, making her feel attractive and, you know, love? Who knows? She could have felt like she couldn't communicate with him. The way he treated her when she cheated, and the way he spoke to her, he had no empathy for her. It was like nothing that she had ever done even mattered to him. It was like all of that stuff was gone, and all that mattered was that she cheated, and now she was in his eyes. The time and hard work that she put into their relationship and taking care of the both of them for the last 2 years meant nothing to him. Rightfully, he was very upset, because who wouldn't be? Because that's not cool. You don't cheat on people. You have to communicate how you feeling. And that's where I will say Issa was wrong, because she was not honest with Lawrence about how she was feeling. Like, she was very passive, and she was more communicative about her issues in her relationship with her friends than she was with the person that she was in a relationship with. And being cheated on, that's a trauma, and so I understand him being upset, but he was not understanding at all. He put all of the blame for why the relationship ended on Issa, when he played a major part in why that relationship went sour. I also noticed something with Lawrence, and I see this with a lot of men, is that they seem to really idealize their parents' relationships and their fathers specifically, thinking that, you know, their fathers had it easy and their mothers were this type of person, when a lot of times that's not really the case. A lot of times both parents be having a lot of baggage going on, and they've either worked through it together, which is what Lawrence's father explained to him in a scene in Insecure, or the mothers are just putting up with a lot of from your fathers, and she's not complaining about it or talking to you about it. She's putting up with so much, and you think that it's this long, flourishing, happy relationship, but it's just because your mother's putting up with stuff that she shouldn't be. And that is why that marriage lasted 30, 40, 50 years, because of your mother, because of your mother's hard work, sweat, and tears. And a lot of tears in some cases. That is what that marriage is floating on. Your mother's tears. Y'all need to stop looking at your parents and thinking, oh, well, why can't our relationship be like this? You don't know what's going on in your parents' relationship and what either parent has had to deal with from the other, because you're just not in their marriage. So stop trying to compare one or the other. You're trying to take advice from here and there. He was taking so much advice from friends on what to do and how to handle it, when you could see that Lawrence, he did not want to leave Issa. It was more of his ego than anything that made him leave her and act the way that he did after that relationship ended. If he would have sat down and got out of his ego and maybe try to work on some things with her, it would have went a lot differently. After Lawrence is broken up from Issa, he's having a hard time. You know, he's trying to find employment. He's sleeping on the couch of his friend who is an even bigger piece of shit than he is. That's another story for another day. While he was still with Issa, the bank that he goes to, he would run into the woman who worked there. Her name was Tasha, right? And Tasha was cool. Like, she seemed like a, you know, around the way type of girl. You know, she was real like, oh yeah, you a black man, like, you know, you doing your big one, kind of just like, you know, she's cool with bare minimum. And basically that's what she was cool with from Lawrence, right? So they had was beginning to have a friendship or whatever before he was even broken up with Issa. I don't think that their relationship before he broke up with Issa was inappropriate. It was definitely a little bit of flirtation there, especially on her part. But I don't think it was like, there was no intention on cheating or, you know, doing something that Issa didn't know about. Even though he was meeting up with her for lunch, which is a little, you know, and you not mentioning that to your partner, that's a little strange. Basically, Tasha was a rebound, right? He was not committed to Tasha. He slept with Tasha. It seemed like because he was upset, and she was just there. That's what it kind of gave, and it felt like he was using her to maybe try to get over Issa, or to, you know, release some of his emotions, or, you know, whatever he was feeling, his aggression. That's really what it gave. He was very unreliable when it came to Tasha. She was very nice to him. You know, she made effort to hang out with him. She invited him to family events once, you know, they started hanging out a lot more. And she was very much like in the mindset of a lot of women where she's like not trying to put a lot of pressure on him. And that never works. Okay, ladies, you need to set your standards and say what you want from the beginning. Don't let no man have you going with his flow. What do you want? Say what you want. If he don't want that, then you can get out. He was pretty scummy to Tasha. At one point, she ended up inviting him to a family event, and he said he was gonna come, and he kind of bailed on her during the event, and he never came back. Then he showed back up at her house, and for whatever reason, she forgave him. And then it didn't last because he was a joke, and she ended up going off on him because he was playing with her. He was playing in her face basically, and he only wanted to see her on the weekends. He was very, very scummy to Tasha, and she was way too nice. She didn't have enough boundaries with him. Before he ended things with Tasha, he started this flirtation at his job, the corporate job that he finally ended up getting. He had a coworker named Aparna. Now Aparna, she's like that cool, you know, real laid back, kind of tomboy type of girl. You know, she's not taking things too serious. You know, it could be casual if you want it to be casual. She's not, you know, she's not pressed about none of that, and she don't really put up with none of the toxic behaviors from men though, you know. So he was entertaining, flirting with Aparna, and he ends up bringing Aparna to Tiffany, who is a shared friend between Issa and Lawrence, to a birthday party. Now he brings her to the party. He knew Issa was gonna be there. I don't care what he's saying. Like, he knew she was gonna be there. Why would you bring this new girl there? Like, you trying to be funny. He had unfollowed Issa on Facebook, and it just all blew up, and they end up blowing up on each other. But Lawrence's insecurities was really bubbling over, especially with Aparna, because she was not a press type of girl. Like, she's not calling you like, oh, where you at? Oh, you want to come meet my family? Like, she wasn't giving all that. Like, she was real cool, and she wasn't really looking for anything super serious herself, so she wasn't on Lawrence like that. And his insecurities from Issa cheating, and maybe even before that, we just don't know, started to come out, and she just wasn't with it. She was like, you want to be on this toxic, oh, who you with, who you laughing with, why you laughing at this one, oh, because you like she wasn't with it, and she was done with it quick. Like, she wrapped it up. Like, she liked him, but she was not willing to deal with his toxic behavior. He was very insecure, and I refuse to believe that it started with the infidelity with Issa. I really refuse to believe that. But because we don't have any prior knowledge of his relationships in the past, or how he was before he met Issa, you know, it will lead the viewers to believe that, you know, he's insecure now because of Issa. It seemed to be much more deep-rooted, if you ask me. At this time, him and Issa are not cool. You know, it ain't no cordialness happening. Tiffany gets pregnant, and at Tiffany's baby shower, we start to see some cordialness between, a little bit before that, but between Issa and Lawrence. And at this baby shower, we meet Tiffany's friend Condola, right? Condola and Issa began working together because Issa had a project she was working on, and Condola had a lot of connections because she did a lot of community projects, and she worked with a lot of, you know, big brands and sponsors with community events. So she was helping Issa. While she was helping Issa didn't know that Condola was going on dates with Lawrence. And then it came out eventually. It kind of made things a little awkward between the two of them. But they kind of smoothed it over, and they were still able to work together. Lawrence didn't really like it. He didn't like them talking. He didn't want them talking about him. Him and Condola, they get pretty serious. And then Lawrence and Condola kind of fall off. And then him and Issa reignite their relationship, which I was totally against, because I did not like the way he treated Issa at the end of their relationship. Condola ends up getting pregnant. And when Condola gets pregnant, and then she has this baby, this really solidified the angst in Lawrence. Condola goes through the pregnancy by herself. Lawrence snaps straight into this bitter, entitled baby daddy role. He wants all of the, you know, authority without the responsibility. And he makes the first few months of his son's childhood unbearable for the mother and the child, because I'm sure the child could feel that that energy. He blows up on her. They have all kind of arguments. You know, he wants things to be his way so that he can see his son. He's framing her as this baby mother who's not trying to let him be in the son's life. And he was really being the typical ancient baby daddy. Like, you want all the authority, but you're not there them late nights when she's waking up having to take care of that baby. You living your life, you know, across town or wherever he was, in a whole nother city. She's in LA. She's doing all the hard work, all the brunt work. She's taking the baby to the doctor's appointments. She's up all night with the baby, all day with the baby. You get to go to work, do what you do, be with your friends, and then you come and you get on the airplane when you feel like it to play daddy, and then you want all of the authority on what's gonna go down and what's gonna happen. It don't work like that. He had no empathy for Condola and the fact that she had just had a baby, and that she was going through postpartum, and she was, you know, having separation anxiety from her baby when he would come around. And she was, as a first-time mother, being just super hyper vigilant about the things that went on with her baby, and he had no empathy for this, especially because he was not even present for her pregnancy. He really wasn't. He didn't even know that she went into labor. He got a call after. That's how, you know, not present he was, that he didn't know she was going into labor. She didn't think to call him because he was not there for her pregnancy. You didn't even know your baby was being born. That's how much you weren't around. And now you want to call the shots and you're not there the way you need to be. Lawrence was completely in the mindset that it was Condola's fault why they had a baby and that she blew his life up, right? Even though they were intimate together consensually and a baby came out of this. Correct. And I think that's a lot of men's misconception, that because a woman decides to have a baby and you don't think that she should, you want to put this blame on her that she ruined your life. She didn't ruin your life. The responsibility of children, whether to have them or not, starts at conception, when you lay down with that person. Every grown person knows what the possibilities are when you decide to be intimate with someone. There's a large, wide range of things that could happen, and pregnancy is one of those things. And you also know that you're in relationships with this person, and this relationship could possibly not work out. We see it every day. Like, come on, married couples, they're together, they have children, it don't work out. People in committed relationships, they are having relations, they have children, it don't work out. So to say that she was blowing up your life is just so unbelievably irresponsible. And again, with that selfish, childish mindset that seems to be, you know, stuck in him throughout the whole series. Like, I don't even believe that at the end of the series that he actually grew up. I really don't think so. Because the misogynistic, like, views and the childish, immature ways, those things don't happen overnight. I think they are so deeply embedded in Lawrence that he doesn't even realize that it's a problem. And that is why he moves through life the way that he does with women. He was truly a piece of garbage, a piece of trash. Did seem to get himself together towards the end of the last season when it came to co-parenting, with the help of Tiffany's husband, who he was friends with, which was his only real friend, who was his only friend who would hold him accountable. It was just so trash, nasty. Like, it really just put into perspective that no matter how much money a man makes, no matter what his socioeconomic status is, he can still be a piece of trash. He was a piece of trash when he was broke, and he was a piece of trash when he got money. When it came to Issa moving on, when she was in her relationship with Nathan, and how that all played out in season 5, Lawrence had no boundaries, okay? When that whole blow up between him and Nathan happened at Tiffany and Derek's going away party, and the way he overstepped into, you know, her relationship territory was so out of line and so disrespectful. And the way that he did it at his friend's, you know, a big event for his friend, a big celebration for them, it just shows that he's selfish, he's self-centered, and he wants what he wants when he wants it. And he's very impulsive as well, because a few weeks before that, he wasn't even entertaining going after her until he had a talk with somebody else. You know, he wasn't entertaining going after him, going to get his girl, you know, after all this time. Now that she's in a relationship, now you just gotta say something, you gotta be with her. No boundaries and no respect. And Nathan should have rocked his shit. You know, it was premeditated what he was gonna do. He knew he was gonna try to speak to Issa. He knew he was gonna try to get in her head about them being back together, even though she had already moved on. When a woman has finally moved on and it seems like she's actually in a solid relationship, that's when they want to come around and they want to insert themselves and become a disruption and a distraction for you. And he was successful. Although Issa and Nathan were having their own issues at the time, I'm sure that Lawrence's disrespect and lack of boundaries did not help. And I don't think that he deserved Issa at the end of the series to be raising his kid with him. A kid from another relationship. Now she's a stepmother to your kid. After she took care of you for 2 years. After the way you treated her. After she made a mistake. He didn't deserve it. He was a piece of trash through and through. He was a piece of trash from season 1 to season 5. And for that, I will always be Team Nathan. That was me on why I cannot stand Lawrence from Insecure. If you guys enjoyed this video, do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And leave any comments down below because I will get back to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you guys in my next one. That really pissed me off. That little last scene in season 5 where she's in the house and the baby comes in and they baking the cake. Hell no. Hell no. But you know, Issa throughout the show, she has a track record for, you know, not really expecting much out of the men that she's with and forgiving them very easily. I wouldn't recommend it. If it was real life, if I knew Issa in real life, then that was, oh, Lawrence would not like me. Because I would have told her, really? You raised his kid that he had with Condola, the lady that you was friends with that you can't be friends with no more because he done had the baby with her? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.